Hey everyone, welcome back to another Nano Reef Freak video. Today's topic is all about lids. Aquarium lids are the one accessory that nobody talks about, and having a good aquarium lid is extremely important, and here's why. Also in this video, we're going to talk more about the new inhabitants of this tank, some of our new corals and fish, so stay tuned for that. Now first, I want to tell you all about a personal experience that I have had with a previous aquarium where it had a lid that set inside the tank and it sat on those little clips that everyone's all familiar with, the little glass clips. Because it sat on those, there was a 1/4 inch gap all the way around the aquarium, and unfortunately, after a few months, my black Ocellaris clownfish found that opening and jumped right out of the aquarium by swimming up the glass, and I lost both of them in one day. So obvious reasons why you need a good lid is to prevent jumping fish. There are also a multitude of other reasons why you would want a good aquarium lid. It helps prevent evaporation in your reef tank, it helps to stabilize temperatures, and it helps to promote gas exchange if you get a mesh lid. I want to show you guys some of my other aquariums so you can see other types of lids and the pros and cons of each type. First, we have my BioCube. This is the BioCube 14-gallon Junior, and if you've watched my most recent videos, this tank needed a necessary upgrade that was preventing me from using the tank. And that was a fan on the back of the BioCube lid because it was having condensation just like the Marineland Peninsula. So every single time I would open this tank, and I mean every single time, gallons of water, like literally probably half a gallon of water, would fall out the back of the aquarium because it would all be condensation up here on the lid, and it would fall out the back of the tank. So you can see in there I've got a little Noctua fan, and that little fan is spinning and constantly moving air throughout this lid. Because air is constantly moving through this BioCube lid with these little vents here and coming out the back, it means that there's no more condensation building up. Now some aquariums may not come with a lid at all, and if they do, it might be a pretty poor lid in general. Some of these smaller tanks like this one, I've gotten little tiny lids made. These are little, polycarbonate, like much more flimsy lids that just fit on here just to prevent the fish from jumping out. So this lid has been pretty robust, but I've actually had the 3D print covers for the mesh to help prevent evaporation. So right now you can see I've got one half of the 3D covers off. That way I can see my corals and make sure they're getting, all the light they need and everything. And it is still providing some gas exchange, but also preventing some evaporation on this little tiny tank. Now a solid lid on a little tank like this would be super awesome because then it would prevent evaporation big time. You can see I've had the 3D print covers for the back, I've got covers for the front, and evaporation isn't too much of a problem when you have that much coverage. But this looks like junk. Like I wish this looked, this is in my living room. I've got 3D printed stuff on top of this. It just doesn't look great. I much prefer a solid polycarbonate lid or an evaporation cover made of polycarbonate as well. This is also a 25-gallon aquarium, and the pump is off right now. That way I can film and record this and there's not too much noise. But you can see on top of this lid, you can see all the little water droplets. Now watch, if I move this lid, they'll all move. You see? Now watch, if I lift this lid up, even just an inch or two, all the water starts to run down the back of the lid. And that's a huge problem. That's a huge pain in the rear when you're trying to take this lid off, you're trying to service the tank, you're getting water all over the floor. God forbid the power strip's on the floor and you're dripping water on that, and now you're in a very dangerous situation. Having a custom polycarbonate lid that's going to provide proper breathability in the aquarium is going to help that a ton. Also, what is this Bengal cardinal doing? He's getting way too close to that anemone, dude. You are going to get stung, brother. There's so much more aquarium. Just go hang out by these rocks or something. I was sent a lid for free from a brand called PlexiFlow, which is what's on this aquarium right now. These PlexiFlow lids do come with a feeding port where you can opt for either a cover or a frozen food cup to defrost your food and feed your aquarium fish. These PlexiFlow lids are also made with extremely sturdy polycarbonate, and they're customizable. So I was actually able to get my channel logo engraved into the PlexiFlow lid itself. Speaking to the customization of polycarbonate lids, you can also get them completely solid on smaller tanks like this one being 25 gallons or less. You can also get them with a mesh, and if you want a mesh and a cover, you can get that as well. You can get a mesh lid where it also has an evaporation cover on top. So this is a great time to mention that PlexiFlow sent me this lid free of charge. No money exchanged hands, and every opinion in this video is my own. Not only is the build quality of polycarbonate extremely good, you also get the aesthetics of a very clean aquarium where you no longer have those clips on either side. You ditch the clips, you ditch the water evaporation issues, you ditch condensation issues. So that's the problem that I've had with my other aquariums. Like I have a Marineland Peninsula tank. Every time I take that Marineland lid off, there's condensation on the lid, it's dripping on the floor, it's maybe dripping on the power cords if I'm having the power strip on the ground, right? Like that could be extremely dangerous to have condensation on your aquarium lid. Not to mention, it prevents gas exchange. So gas exchange is important in a reef tank because of pH and alkalinity and other factors. Now, I don't have an exact test between a solid lid and a mesh lid to give you my personal experience with gas exchange, but I do know that in your home, you're constantly breathing, you're expelling carbon dioxide into the air. That is interacting with your aquarium and affecting the pH balance. So you might see your pH fluctuate overnight, or maybe it's higher in the morning, lower in the evening, and things like pH are also going to affect your alkalinity. Now, I think what would be a really fun video is if we set up two identical tanks, one with a solid lid and one with a mesh lid, measured their parameters at the exact same time, and saw what differences we could observe. Would one tank with a solid lid measure higher in pH or lower in pH compared to a mesh lid? I'm not sure. That would be a really fun experiment, maybe to run with two 10-gallons side by side and just see how they compare. I really do like this lid. I really like having a polycarbonate lid instead of a mesh lid. So if you look, let me get my old lid here. This is my old Innovative Marine lid. It's fine, it gets the job done. You can see I tried to 3D print clips on the side that did provide full coverage, and that did help, but it's a pain in the butt because this thing is not perfectly square, and then it had cutouts in the corners for cords, and then fish could jump out of there, and there was like a 1/4-inch gap all the way around. It just wasn't the best lid for me. So that's why I went with a polycarbonate lid. So I want to wrap up with some recommendations. If you have an aquarium and you're looking for a new lid, then a polycarbonate lid like this one is a great thing to invest in. Now, you might need a polycarbonate lid like this if you have a tank that didn't come with a lid, or if you're changing from an aquarium like a BioCube and you want to put a light like this Kessel on top of it, you're going to need to take the BioCube canopy off and put a polycarbonate lid like this on. Ultimately, when you lose a fish, it's going to sting, especially if you could have put a polycarbonate lid on it like this and protected your fish the entire time. Especially if that fish is more expensive. In my case, it was at least $60 that I was out because I was paying at least $30 a clownfish, and they both jumped out in the same day. So if you have more expensive fish, like maybe you have a jawfish that jumps out, or God forbid a yellow tang with all the pricing problems that yellow tangs are going through right now, honestly, I'd say that a lid like this would probably pay for itself in a couple months. I only have 4 or 5 fish in here, but these two clownfish are wild. They get spooked all the time. I'll come in here and I'll walk to check my 3D printer and they'll like dart. And I'm like, if they darted and there was a gap in the lid, that could be it for them, and you may not even realize, especially if it's nighttime, you don't necessarily hear them. It's not like they jump out and call for help. They jump out and just sit there. So unfortunately, people who have lost fish, it hurts even to this day. It still hurts. So yeah, having a lid like this, really awesome. Would definitely recommend getting a custom lid. I just love the aesthetics as well. I love, that it's helping prevent evaporation. I like that it has a channel logo. I mean, that's freaking sick. I like that it's solid, but still has holes for gas exchange. So we're still getting the benefit of that. So in my previous videos, you saw I got this new Trichophilia. This was in the Fluval Evo 13.5 gallon before we did that whole migration into my office. And I also got this new brain coral. This would historically be called a Welsophilia, but they did change the classification of these to also be Trichophilia. He is also trying to be on the move. So the other day, a little hermit crab was bothering him, and I think he's trying to get out of this corner and fluff up to where the flow kind of moves him towards the center of the aquarium. So I'll have to move him, but he is awesome. Hopefully I have some other clips of him to pop in here from when he looked really good, but he was the intro scene, or the intro poster of my previous video. So if you go back to that previous video, it's a picture of him in the fish store, and I just had to have him after using that in my previous video. I could not stop thinking about this coral, so I had to go back to the fish store. Luckily, they still had him, and I was able to pick him up. So now he will be a permanent member of this aquarium. Other than that, we've got all the corals from the 13.5 gallon in here. So our Duncan is in the back. We have our trumpet coral here. We've got the brain coral, doing fantastic, I might add. We've got the hammer coral. It's up to 4 heads now. It started at 2. It's already doubled in a month, which is really good to see. And then we've also got, our leathers, our zoas, that sort of thing. We've got some utter chaos over here next to our gold neon goby. His name is French Fry. He's a new addition to this aquarium. Other than that, we do have a damsel in here. So this damsel is a Springer damsel. Springer damsels help to eat flatworms and things like that. And then we also have our clownfish. They're extremely skittish, and they constantly hide in the back there and kind of jump around the Duncan. So hopefully they'll start hosting them, but be careful what you ask for, right? Other than those fish, we do have one more damsel in here. He's a black royal damsel. He's got a little yellow on his tail, and he is super skittish, and his name is Danny Phantom. So his name fits him. We have not seen him, I don't think this whole video, or maybe you saw him in the background. So if you see Danny, put a timestamp in there so other people can go and check him out. Other than that, we've just got, hermit crabs in there. This is the whole tank here, so looking really, really good. Really happy with this tank, and yeah, more videos to come soon, guys, on this tank, so stay tuned for that. Definitely check out PlexiFlow, guys. Thank you, PlexiFlow, for sending me this lid free of charge, and hope you guys liked the video, and have a great rest of your day.